Hello friends, hello YouTube, it's Liz here again and we are live over on Annie's Crafts YouTube channel. And if you're joining me, say hello in the chat. We are live here today and we're live every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. So I hope you can join me, and because this is a great opportunity for you to let me know what you're working on, maybe chat a little or ask me any questions if you have any crochet questions. So I have something really fun for you today, so I'm so happy you're here, because what we're going to learn today is, if you know it, you probably know how great it is, but if you don't know it, you're going to be really excited. This is going to like blow your crochet mind when you see this stitch. So we're talking about the foundation single crochet stitch. You can do foundation stitches with half double crochet, with single crochet, with double crochet. So we're going to talk about the single crochet one today, and I'm going to tell you all the great uses for it. But while I'm waiting for people to join and say hello and hopefully let me know where they're joining from, we're going to do a quick recap of what we talked about last week. So last week we worked on a pattern from the summer issue of Crochet Magazine, and that was the Isabella top. And this one has been really popular, that's why I wanted to do it. It's kind of been a fan favorite. It's really quick and easy to work up, and it's just a really beautiful little top. And this was what I did. So we did this together last week. So if you missed that, I'll put a link in the description so you can go back and watch how to make this cute Isabella top. And today we're talking about the June issue of Crochet World. So if you don't have it, there's a link in the description for this too if you want to order yours. This is the newest issue, Crochet World. And there's a lot of fun stash busting projects, lots of fun light, colorful, summery stuff. But today we're talking about these quilted pot holders. So these are really cute, very unique crochet item. And this pattern uses foundation single crochet stitches. There's some color changes. And then there is some, I always forget what it's called. It's like embroidery work over here where you can, here I'll just show you, you'll know what I'm talking about. You see those little zigzags in white? You just kind of do that with the needle. You just go over it and do like an embroidery. And then when you make the two squares, so this is two squares, and then you take those two squares and you put them together, and then you do a nice slip stitch. And there's my friend Susan. Hi Susan, so happy you're here. We're doing the quilted pot holders today, and we're doing a foundation single crochet. So it's a really fun stitch to learn. If you don't know it, I'm glad you're here to check it out. So after you make the two squares, then you put those two together and you do just a simple slip stitch seam, and that makes it really nice and thick and durable. So I'm going to show you how to do the slip stitch seam as well. So for this pattern, the pattern in the magazine calls for this yarn, and this is called Lily Sugar and Cream, and it's 100% cotton. It's a worsted weight, so it's pretty thick, and it's going to be great for something like a pot holder. So you don't want to use like an acrylic, because it'll probably melt if you touch a hot pot with it. So you always want to use your cotton when you're making something. Usually anything for the kitchen, cotton's a great choice. So this is what we're going to do the slip stitch seam with, but I'm going to show you the foundation single crochet in my Omega, because I think it'll be easier to see on the camera. So see, I worked up a little sort of sample of it. And I started with some foundation single crochets, and then I just changed colors. And that's all you really have to do for this pattern. So you just change your colors as the pattern calls for. So you got like a really fun, interesting, there's three of them. So you've got three different, interesting, like colorful colors. And this was the first one, but it's super easy to change colors. And as you can see, I didn't have to keep cutting and starting a new one. I just moved the threads up. I moved the yarn up as I worked. So you hold the strands and then you work over the strand. So it's super easy, and You can't even tell that the strands are in there, but they're in there. And then once you finish it, you do that little zigzag over it. So you definitely won't see those strands. So you don't really have to keep cutting and adding a new yarn. So, Susan, I'm so glad you're here. We're going to do the foundation single crochet, and I want to get right into it because I really want to show you how to do this. It's a great stitch. Let me move my phone. You can use it for lots of different things, and we'll talk about that too. Okay. Can you see my hands okay? Hopefully everyone can see. We're going to start with a 4mm hook. And let's do the blue. So now, to do foundation stitches, what it basically is you're working a row of crochet stitches without working that beginning starting chain. So of course most patterns you have that starting chain, so you chain a long amount and then you work your single crochets right into those chain spaces. But for a foundation stitch, you work both the beginning chain and the stitch row at the same time. So that's what makes it really fun. And what's also really cool about this is it's going to give you a really nice finished row. So as you know, sometimes when you have that starting chain, it can be a little tight. But with this, it's going to be nice and stretchy if you use foundation stitches. So we're going to start with a slip knot on our hook, and then we're going to work 2 chains for the foundation single crochet. So that's 1 and that's 2. Now I'm going to work into that first chain that I made. So I'm just going to go right down into that very first chain, okay? And then you're going to pull up a loop. And this loop that we're pulling up here is going to create a chain, for a foundation chain. And then the top of it is going to be the single crochet. So we've pulled up a loop and then we're going to pull through that loop. And now you see I've just made a chain right there. And now we have 2 loops on our hook, which is how you complete a single crochet. So you just yarn over and complete that single crochet by pulling through the 2 loops on the hook. Now you can see I've made a single crochet stitch. And that's how you start, and then you just keep going. So what you need to do is find that first chain that I just made, that's right there, and then we're going to go back into there under both loops, right? Pull up a loop. Now don't finish and make your single crochet. You have to make another chain because each of these single crochets has to have the chain to start. So you yarn over, you pull through, now there's my chain. And then an easy way to do it is just pinch that chain with your fingers so you remember where it is because you're going to work back into there. Now I've got 2 loops on my hook and I just yarn over and pull through those 2. Okay, here's my chain I just made. I'm going to go under both loops of that chain, yarn over, make another chain, and then make a single crochet. And try not to be too tight with this because it'll be hard for you to get into those chains if you don't do it nice and easy and loose. Okay, so go back into that chain we just made, yarn over, make another chain. There's my chain. I can pinch it so remember where it is, and yarn over, pull through those 2. And we're going to do a few more of those, and then I'm going to show you what my row looks like so you can see how fantastic this is. So don't forget to make your chain. What I sometimes do is I forget to make my chain, and you'll know it won't look right if you forget to make your chain. Just rip it back and go back and make your chain. So make your chain and make your single crochet. Make your chain and then make your single crochet. So it's like you're making the chain and the single crochet all in one move. Make your chain, make your single crochet. And how you would start this. So let's say your pattern doesn't call for foundation stitches, but you want to use foundation stitches. All you have to do is take that starting chain. So if the pattern says start with a chain of 35, single crochet in the second chain from the hook and each chain across. And then at the end, you should have, what, 34 stitches, right? So all you have to do, you can skip that whole first part and you just do 34 foundation stitches. So that extra stitch is the turning chain, so you don't have to make that stitch. So you can substitute this for any pattern you want. Just remember you don't have to do the starting chain. So all of your chains, you know, it would be the amount, what you want to end up with is the amount of stitches that you're supposed to end up with for that first row. So this is the first row. And as you can see, this looks like just a plain old row of single crochet stitches. And what's cool about this is it's really stretchy. It's not going to give you that tight, that sort of tightness that a starting chain often does. And this is great for people who, if you do your starting chain and you end up where you start working your piece and it's kind of goes out and it's larger on the top than it is on that bottom starting chain, this will eliminate that problem because you're working the starting chain along with your foundation stitches, along with your single crochet stitches, so you are not going to have that tight starting chain. So this is a great alternative for when you do like a top-down raglan style or a yoke style, and you start at the neckline and then you work down. This will make the neckline nice and easy to go over your head and a little more stretchy and not that tight starting chain. So this is great for that. You can also add foundation stitches to a garment. So let's say you're making a shirt. You can start out with a square and then you can just add a row of foundation stitches out to the side to make the sleeve. And then you go back and then do another row of, then you do a chain to make the other sleeve. And that way all of your rows are lined up if you do something like that. So for this pattern, you would start with your foundation chain like I just showed you. And then you would simply, when it tells you to change colors, you just add the new color on the last yarn over. So I'll show you. So let's do one more foundation stitch. We're going to begin it and then on the last yarn over, we're going to add a new color. So we do our chain. There's my first chain. And now here's where I have to work my single crochet. So all I do is drop that color, add my new color, pull that through to finish the single crochet, and then you just keep going with your new color. So work into the chain that you did, and then work more foundation stitches. And that's easy and very simple way to change colors, and that's how you would do it in this pattern. So you have to tighten it a little bit because it's going to be a little loose, but you can always weave that in at the end. And that's how you change colors for the quilted potholder set. Super, super simple. And then like I said, once you have that color on there, you just pull your strands up along with you as you work. You don't have to cut and add a new one and cut and add a new one. So the other fun thing I want to show you for this pattern, so you will have everything you need to make this cute quilted potholder set. So remember I said in the beginning, you're going to start with, you're going to make your 2 squares. So this is just my sample square. And this is the yarn that I was telling you that the pattern calls for, the Lily Sugar and Cream. So you make your 2 squares and then you're going to put your squares together. And you see how you got a really nice thick potholder? It's really thick, so you're not going to burn your hands on this for sure. So once you make your 2 squares, we're going to join the 2 squares with a slip stitch join. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So I start with another slip knot on my hook. And then we're going to put your hook through the first stitch and the first stitch of the second piece. So the first stitch of the first piece and the first stitch of the second piece, you're going to go through both loops. You just put that slip knot right there, and then you can just go right through there. And then you're going to go through the V's. So this yarn is, like I said, it's very thick, so you're going to have to get through both of those pieces with a slip knot. So you can start it however you want. You can start it with the slip knot on your hook, or you can start just by pulling the yarn through. So you're going to go through the first stitch of the first piece and the second stitch of the first piece and the second stitch of the second piece. You're just going to move along and work into each stitch. And you're going through both thicknesses of both pieces, right? So you pull that through, and then you pull it through there. That's how you do a slip stitch. So you go through your stitch, you grab your yarn, pull it through both pieces. And this one splits a little bit because you know how cotton splits a little bit. So if it happens, just go back and start over. Pull it through there, and then pull it through the loop that's on your hook. That's a slip stitch. So pull it through the first piece, pull it through the second piece, and pull it through the loop that's on your hook. And if you prefer to sew them together, you can do that too. You don't have to do the slip stitch join. You can even do a single crochet join if you prefer. I think the pattern calls for the slip stitch join, and I think that's probably the best choice for this because it makes a really pretty border around it. See, and as you can see, there's my row of slip stitches that I've worked. See? And you can see on the pattern, here's that slip stitch border, and they did it in the white, so it really shows up nice as a nice pretty border. And this one, it's in the tan. So then you can use the same color that you did the border for your embroidery, your little zigzag embroidery. And then you just keep going all the way around. You work the corners and then go all the way around. And that is all there is to it. So let me flip my phone and say goodbye. I hope everyone enjoyed this video. I hope you learned how to do the foundation single crochet. If you didn't get it, just go back and rewatch the video. It's a great stitch to learn. It's a great stitch to have in your crochet tool bag. So it's lots of fun uses, and it's great for this pattern for the quilted pot holders. So I hope you try the foundation single crochet. Maybe next time I will do a foundation double crochet. I'll show you how to do that. And also, if you missed last week's live, make sure you go back and watch that so you can learn how to make the pretty Isabella top. Make sure to join our Facebook group over on Annie's. You can join the group, say hello to all the other crocheters that are in the group, ask any questions that you need to ask. And lastly, don't forget to join me next Wednesday at 1 p.m. here on Annie's Crafts YouTube channel. Bye everyone. Bye Susan. Thanks for coming.